God is good all the time. And today I'm going to show you my update on how I'm now doing my tooth powder recipe. So you can go find my original video right up here, and that shows you how I do my tooth powder and my toothpaste. But I've made a couple of changes in what I add to it and how I mix it. So since I need to do this today, I thought I would stop from my busyness outside, because yes, it's actually warm and dry outside for a change, so we've been out there getting a lot done in the garden and all that, so it's been wonderful. However, I got to get this done, so I thought I'd take you along for the ride and show you what I'm doing now. On to the tooth powder. Thanks to Suburban Hillbilly, who gave me this tip a while back, and one of those things, it's like, why didn't I ever think of that? And that is, I've started mixing all my powdered ingredients like this in bigger jars, a jar like twice the size of the jar that I need to put it in. So you might have seen me do that in my popcorn seasoning recipe, and I just loved it. It was the first time I tried it. So I've done that with my seasoning salt since, and now my tooth powder and my underarm deodorant powder. So anyway, this is what I'm going to do. Right in here, I have 1.5 cups of baking soda. So think of this, if you don't want to make this much at a time, think of this as 3 parts baking soda. What I'm going to add to that, this is my tooth powder in a jar. I want to finish filling this up all the way to the top. So what I'm going to add to that is a 1/2 cup or 1 part of arrowroot powder, or you can use tapioca starch. And I'll explain why in a minute. So my lid to this is about a 1/2 cup. It doesn't have to be exact, but somewhere around in there. You can even play around with the measurements and see if you can, you know, and just try it and see what you think, going even 1/2 and 1/2. What got me into doing it this way was that my underarm deodorant recipe, which you can find a video to that right up here, is 1/2 baking soda and 1/2 arrowroot powder or tapioca starch, whichever one I'm using at the time. And one day I decided to try it for a tooth powder, and I loved how it worked on my teeth better than the original recipe without the arrowroot or tapioca starch in it. Now, now the reason why I like that better is not just the way it feels on my teeth, and my teeth feel very, very clean, but I've been trying to find a way to kind of cut back on the baking soda in the tooth powder and still be able to get my teeth real clean, because baking soda can be a little too abrasive if you're using it consistently. So for me, I actually only use the baking soda toothpaste or tooth powder, maybe once a week, and the rest of the week I use my coconut oil blend without the baking soda in it, so that and I do a combination of oil pulling and brushing with that. But I wanted to try to find a way to thin out the baking soda, since nobody else really likes to brush their teeth with coconut oil, and that was one of the ways I did it, and I actually like the way it felt better on my teeth. It just seems like it made my teeth feel smoother, but still just as clean, if not cleaner. And even though for this recipe I'm going 3 parts to 1 part, I still suggest that you try even go 1/2 and 1/2, because like I said, when I tried it with just the underarm powder, it worked really good. I'm trying to kind of ease the family into it and get them used to that. Now, the other thing I like to add is a magnesium citrate and calcium citrate. So I think these things are not only just good on your teeth, but as you're brushing with it, it's getting absorbed through the gums into the bloodstream, and they're working together. Because as I said in another video, I think it was the gummy recipe video, if you're going to take these as a supplement, you should really be taking them together. The calcium and magnesium need to work together. Alright, so since I'm doing such a large amount, normally I'd put about a tablespoon of each in a jar this size. This is the type of jar we use for both our underarm deodorant, and I just use a brush and brush it on, and for our tooth powder. And so you just dip your toothbrush in there and do it that way. So I'm going to go a 1/4 cup of each of these into my mix. So there's the calcium, Citrate, and I will link to the calcium and magnesium below. And now the Magnesium Citrate. Now you will find a pleasant surprise when you use this is the magnesium makes it fizzy, which is really kind of fun. Some of you may not like it, but it's really kind of fun. Oh, and here's the arrowroot powder I'm using. I just emptied this bag into my jar over here. Finished out this bag, and I get this on Amazon as well. Another brand I've used is the Bob's Red Mill. This is just the one I'm using currently. And so then the last ingredient would be whatever essential oil you want to use. So I'm using Now Foods peppermint oil. You can use, orange clove is really good. You can also add cayenne pepper to this if you want, or really good. I've done that before. And I've actually added cayenne pepper and cloves plus the clove oil, and that was a real good tooth powder recipe. But I'm using the peppermint because everybody likes peppermint. Oh, and another one I'd recommend is a myrrh oil. Myrrh oil is really good for your overall health of your teeth and gums, or oral health. So I'm going to put, since I'm making so much here, I'm going to put 4 full capfuls of the peppermint in there. Now another thing you can do is add powdered stevia to this, but it's going to turn it green if you get the good stevia, the real stuff. But the stuff that's been highly processed is white, and I've been getting away from using that. And I've only actually used it in the tooth powder anyway, but I just don't trust any of that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do now is put a lid on this, and I'm just going to shake it real good. Oh boy, I can smell that peppermint. It's good and strong. You like it strong. You may want to use less peppermint if you're going to use peppermint. We just tend to like things very strong. I say that in a lot of videos, but I like to make sure people understand that, because some people are going to be a lot more sensitive to these essential oils especially than me. I'm not at all sensitive to this kind of stuff. I can handle quite a bit when it comes to essential oils. So just keep in mind sensitivity of you or your family whenever you're using this stuff. Okay, so that is actually a really good way to get it nicely blended. So now what I do is every time somebody needs tooth powder, instead of me having to stop and make a little batch, just a little batch like this, all I have to do is pull out my tooth powder jar and then fill it up. In fact, I'm going to switch. I forgot. I was wanting to mix these together and then put this in this jar because the regular amount is actually easier to pour from. So let me go ahead and do that with I love this stainless steel canning funnel. I couldn't find one like this at my local store. I have one of those plastic ones that they sell, but when I got to looking it up, it's like, oh man, they do make stainless steel. So little by little, I've been trying to purge the plastics from our life. So, this was just a great find. Now, sometimes, depending on what I'm using, I still use the plastic, but especially if you're going to have to pour anything hot when you're canning, I recommend going with the stainless steel, not plastic. So I will link to this below. Okay, there we go. So now I got it in the regular mouth jar, and that will be easier just to dump it from there into these little jars like this. And it frees up another wide mouth jar for me because I prefer the wide mouth for canning. But I like the regular mouth for things like my my homemade scouring powder and stuff. Now, want to make sure you mark it, because if you're like me and you also have a jar of the homemade scouring powder under your sink, you might end up grabbing your tooth powder to clean your sink. That is the update on how I'm now making my tooth powder. So play with it a little bit and see what you think. Again, I really like it better having those one of those starches in there. So again, either the arrowroot powder or tapioca starch, and I will link to both of those below, as well as all these other ingredients and the stainless steel funnel. Now, one thing I do also want to recommend is that you really want to consider maybe even cutting back on the tooth powder like I'm doing, and just if you can handle it, I recommend brushing with coconut oil. Even just coconut oil alone. I'll brush with coconut oil alone a lot of times, but I also have a little jar this size full of coconut oil that I put whatever essential oil I'm in the mood for. I've done wintergreen, peppermint, clove, whatever, and I'll mix that in there, and that's what I'll brush my teeth with. And I'll brush for about 5 minutes. Just brush gently. You don't want to brush hard or get a hard bristled brush, because you can actually brush your gums away and then expose part of your root. Just a gentle brushing. Then I take the toothbrush out, put it, rinse it, put it away, and then I just leave the stuff in my mouth and swish it around for about another 15 minutes, clear up to a half an hour. I just love what it does for my oral care in general. So coconut oil in particular, you can oil pull with just about anything, but coconut oil is just really good because of all the properties it has, the antifungal, the antiviral, the antibacterial, and plus just all the good things that are in it that are getting absorbed into your bloodstream as you're doing that, but also pulling the toxins out of your teeth and gums. And make sure also you don't spit it down your sink. You want to, I always just spit it outside somewhere. And then if you want, you can do a rinse brush or whatever. I don't always, sometimes I do. That's just entirely up to you. One more thing I forgot to say about the little jars, and I will link to these below, but you can probably find these locally. These are a 1/4 pint jar, and they're 4 ounces. They're just the perfect size. I use these jars for my face cream. Like I said, the deodorant powder, the toothpaste, and the tooth powder. I use these for a lot of things. But, for your family, just these come with their own little labels like this, so you can use those labels and put the name of the person whose that is, so you're not getting them all mixed up. Or you can write right on the lid. I get these lids from Amazon too, but you can still use your regular canning lids that come with it, or even those little plastic lids. And you can just take a permanent marker and just write the names right on that. It's one way to keep them separate. Just a helpful tip for you to keep them all separate and how to store them. And I just really like these little jars. So check them out, and I bet you'll find a whole bunch of other uses for them like I do. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. And I hope you'll take some time to like and to comment below and share with us your thoughts, because we really do appreciate that interaction, even if it takes us a while to get back to you. Alright, thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.